giving yourself away in a poor quality video. Yet again, here we are. So I have been challenging myself to read a little bit more. Reading is something that I like to do, but it's still something that I struggle with. So I've told myself if I can get through a chapter a day, and let me specify, when I say that I struggle with it, what I specifically mean is that I struggle through just getting through the entire book. So I will get close to the end of a book, and then I will just stop reading it. I don't know why. I've done this with just about every single book that I have. So I'm challenging myself to actually finish the books. I guess that's a better way to put it. I'm challenging myself to finish the books. I've told myself if I can do a chapter a day, which I have my little sheet that I created right here for each chapter, and today I decided that I was going to do 2 chapters. So I started to read an additional chapter of the book that I'm currently reading right now. This Atomic Habits by James Clear. I've had this book for a couple of years now. It has been sitting here in my office for years. I picked it up a few years ago after buying it and started to read it. Did not get through the first few paragraphs of the introduction. Boohooed like a little baby. Boohooed again like a little baby this time when I picked it up. But last time I didn't make it past. I put it down, didn't pick it back up until recently. So in this book, he's specifically talking about habits and how it is the habits that we have that reinforce the beliefs that we have as individuals. And that essentially becoming like our identity. But we also have to have the belief in doing something in order to start pursuing the habits to achieve whatever it is we're seeking to achieve. It's kind of like this never-ending cycle. What would that thing be called? The rain cycle? It's kind of like that. Because he talks about like 3 specific things, but that's not the point of this specific video whatsoever. The point that he is making in the part that I am in chapter 4, which is like part 1 of the book, that he is explaining, oh, my bad, it's the first law, to make it obvious. So he says, with enough practice, you can pick up on cues that predict certain outcomes without consciously thinking about it. Automatically, your brain encodes the lessons learned through experience. We can't always explain what it is we are learning, but learning is happening all along the way, and your ability to notice the relevant cue in given situations is the foundation for every habit you have. And I'm sitting here and I'm reflecting on that specific part. I haven't even made it past that specific part because I was like, my mind is running wild. I need to stop. I need to make a video. Because if I don't make things upon me actually like thinking about them, if I don't have these talking points right then, once that thought process is done and over with, like it's done and over with, I might be able to bring it back up in the future, but the likelihood of me being able to talk about it the way that I can talk about it when I first think about it, it's very slim. Like all this energy and everything that you see, yeah, that particular thing like goes away. So I was sitting here thinking about it, and I was reflecting on some things about my life. One thing about me is I have always, I don't know, I can't explain it. And a lot of people who have experienced the same thing probably can't explain it either, but I can pick up on like social cues quickly. As in, this is a person I do need to associate myself with, and this is a person I do not. I have always been able to identify someone who is viewing me as a piece of bread, who is trying to butter me up just to eat me later on. The narcissist, per se. I have always been able to identify those types of people because I know, and it didn't really resonate with me too much, like I couldn't tell you until like a year ago when I picked up the book The Art of Seduction, because I was doing some research on persuasion versus manipulation. Are they actually the same thing or not? Are there subtle differences? Are there similarities? And there are, in fact, a lot of similarities. But through reading that book, one thing I was able to know and understand is that people who end up being abusive or end up being manipulative, they are actually the people who do not present themselves at the surface level as aggressive. They don't even present themselves as assertive. And I think I need to explain this a little bit more because I know a lot of people get like assertion and aggressiveness confused because they do not understand behavioral communications. I can't pronounce that word right, so you're going to have to excuse the fact that I just butchered that. Anyways, so assertiveness and aggression, they are confused for the same thing. Assertiveness is not the same as aggression. There is going to be, I would say, a level of aggression presented, but it's not going to be in the aspect of like a demand per se. It's more so passion. So when passion is brought about, a lot of people view that as aggression because they simply don't pick up on the cue that there is a level of aggression with passion, but it only becomes aggressive when there is a lack of sincerity, when there is a lack of truth, more so, because a lot of people don't understand what the word sincerity means, and being truthful is a synonym for sincerity. Okay, let's make sure we know and we understand that. It's not that someone else isn't taking you into account, it's they're being able to listen to you and also able to integrate their thoughts and beliefs into that particular situation, whatever it is you were talking about, right? Aggression lacks sincerity. It lacks the ability to take a step back and to actually listen. So, with that being said, they present themselves more passively. That is oftentimes why you hear, like, when we're taking this to extremes, okay? When a couple splits up and one of them ends up being deleted, and it turns out that the other person did that, a lot of people will come out and say, I would have never guessed that this person would have done that, because they use people-pleasing techniques as an attempt to draw people in. So that way, when things do go south and their true colors are actually shown, it's hard for someone else to believe that they would actually do it to make the other person seem crazy. Does that make sense? Like, I have always been able to pick up on those cues. And this has made me realize, like, this whole process of going through, like, this personal development and everything like that, and reading all the books that I have read, has really shed a lot of light on that for me. And I like to educate people on these things. I try to tell people all the time, like, pay attention to cues. All the time, pay attention to cues. There are some things that we just naturally pick up on because we're so used to them. We have seen them time and time again.